Welcome to today's Explainer. We're looking at a profound, honestly almost invisible shift happening right beneath our fingertips. We are talking about the massive transition from an era where we actually owned our digital tools into a reality where we're basically just renting them. It's a fascinating dynamic that's completely reshaping our world. And if you care at all about maintaining your own agency over the tech you use every single day, well, you're definitely going to want to understand this fundamental shift.
There is a feeling in technology now that something has already ended. Now, that really begs the question, right? What exactly is ending? Well, it's not the end of software, and it's certainly not the end of machines. It's actually the end of an old bargain. The days where we simply learned a tool, adapted to its interface, and just blindly accepted that whoever owned the technological stack owned the future, those days are fading fast. We are losing a very fundamental kind of digital independence.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the end of an era and the shifting bargain of tech. To really understand where we're going, we first have to look back at how we slowly lost ownership over our digital stack in the first place.
We can actually trace this shifting bargain across 4 distinct eras. Back in Era 1, the early days, software was, well, almost innocent. People wrote small, highly modifiable scripts and utilities. There was absolutely zero ecosystem lock-in. But then we hit Era 2, the PC era, where software became, let's call it, domesticated. Big companies realized that controlling the workflow, like the Office document or the design file, meant they controlled the dependency. Then came Era 3, the cloud era. And the cloud promised us freedom from bulky infrastructure, but it actually just industrialized our dependency. The computer you used to be able to touch turned into a rented abstraction, essentially just remote weather, right? And now, here we are in Era 4, the AI era, where these incredibly complex systems act as the ultimate mediators of our reality.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this wasn't just some overnight jump. Large language models escalated in 5 very specific steps. First, they looked like polite little tools, just an autocomplete, but with better manners. Then, step 2, they evolved into code assistants. Step 3, they became the actual interface itself. Step 4, they took over the workflow entirely. And finally, step 5, the replacement fantasy. Large language models did something incredibly dangerous here. They escalated from simply automating our tasks to completely mediating our world. They're becoming this conversational filter over our knowledge, our code, and even our judgment. They are actively metabolizing the world now, rather than just describing it.
Section 2, the politics of spatial computing and why power fears open spaces. Let's pivot our explainer toward immersive systems like XR, VR, and AR, and look at why they haven't entirely saturated the world just yet. Because honestly, physical discomfort and expensive hardware, those are just surface-level excuses.
There's a massive underlying political tension at play here. On one side, we have closed XR, which has been neatly pushed into the comfortable, controlled cages of entertainment, gaming, and luxury hardware. It's locked down, and therefore, it is entirely safe for centralized power. Authoritarians and corporate monopolies absolutely love closed platforms because a screen is super easy to own, a feed is easy to rank, and a timeline is easy to police. But on the flip side, we have open XR. Open spatial environments are socially dangerous to centralized power. Why? Because they act a lot more like a physical room or a public street. They allow totally unpredictable groups of people to assemble, build, organize, and crucially, to disobey the default script. Power absolutely fears unpredictable assembly, and OpenXR enables exactly that.
Which brings us to this vital realization. The web can become spatial without becoming owned. This right here is the central defense mechanism against total platform capture. The open web, standard protocols, JavaScript, browsers that still let you open raw links, these things still exist. People are out there building wonderfully strange things without ever asking permission from some massive corporate roadmap. That open web foundation is absolutely crucial if we want to avoid every single new spatial world just turning into someone else's digital shopping center.
Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds. Infrastructure as power and the invisible architecture of control. Because the old power isn't just visible in the obvious platform names we all scroll through every day.
Behind those sleek interfaces we tap on every single day sits a massive, invisible financial layer. We're talking about governments, banks, giant asset managers like BlackRock, debt, currencies, energy markets, and military contracts. These behind-the-scenes actors actively shape what gets funded, what gets built, what gets regulated, or what gets quietly buried. Think about it. A bank doesn't need to write a single line of code to control what software gets off the ground. A cloud provider doesn't need to directly censor you if they literally own the infrastructure beneath your speech. This is infrastructure functioning as pure, unadulterated power.
And this confusion between what we see and what's actually happening becomes highly useful for the people in control. Let's break it down. You see a simple search box, the system sees an economic filter. You see your personal cloud account, the system sees a compliance checkpoint. You see a really helpful AI model, the system sees a centralized mediator of human knowledge. You see a smartphone, the system sees a 24/7 behavioral sensor. These officially separate layers actually reinforce each other perfectly, proving that a single company doesn't even need to own the whole shebang to create a planetary-scale rented reality. Section 4. The Great Collision and the Future of the Open Web. So where is all this heading? Well, we're hurtling toward a future where our old technological categories are just going to dissolve completely.
It really comes down to this brilliant metaphor from the text: rebuilding feudalism with better latency. Modern technology constantly promises us empowerment, connection, and boundless creativity. But in practice, it's heavily centralizing power, it's automating our tastes, and it's isolating us inside these highly personalized behavioral cages. It is just old power wearing brand new glass, pretending to offer freedom while essentially extracting rent from its digital serfs.
So the crucial point is this: the real battle of the future isn't going to be AI versus humans or Apple versus Meta. No way. The real battle is between programmable reality and rented reality. On one side, programmable reality says, open the link, inspect the system, modify the world, bring your own tools, and keep your agency. But on the other side, rented reality says, accept the interface, agree to the terms, rent the digital environment, feed the AI model, obey the platform, and hey, let's just call it convenience.
But you know what? The days are counted. The days are absolutely counted for software that only exists because users are trapped. The days are counted for platforms that deliberately confuse ownership with usefulness. And why? Not because these massive rented systems will suddenly just vanish overnight, but because the magic is finally wearing off. Everyday users can feel the trap now. And once that illusion is broken, technology actually has to become useful again, but on our terms.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly vital question to ponder based on everything we've unpacked today. Are you programming your reality, or are you just renting it? Take a hard, honest look at the digital tools you rely on every single day. Do they give you agency, or do they demand your obedience? It's a fascinating lens to view our tech through, and I really hope this explainer has given you a powerful new way to understand the systems operating all around us. Keep questioning the interface and keep learning. Catch you next time.